Alright, so what I'm about to do for y'all is I'm real quick just gonna give y'all a quick, simple breakdown of what I do basically. All I use is support and resistance with the alligator as kind of the icing on top. That's all I use, alright? So I have these different lines are all support and resistance lines that I looked at the graph and I seen. They're color coded depending on what time frame I put them in on. So purple lines are daily support and resistances that I seen. The yellow levels are 15-minute support and resistances. The daily support and resistances are stronger than the 15-minute ones. So that's why a lot of times when y'all see price moves and it gets stuck consolidating in a space, sometimes it's stuck at a daily support or a daily resistance and it's trying to break through, but it's struggling, right? All right, so I'm gonna tell y'all to use this strategy, you have to be patient. Like a lack of patience with this strategy is going to lose you money, or not only a lack of patience, but if you have severe FOMO, severe fear of missing out on money, don't worry about missing out on this money right here. This right here, this is no setup. This is all straight momentum. This is all straight momentum. Now, if you want to use a different strategy to catch this, be my guest, but that's not part of my strategy, right? Um, all right. So basically, my strategy is I wait for price to break through or close below or close above one of my zones, and I wait for price to have a retest or a kind of or a last kiss, right? So let's say price broke through here for a sell. You want to see a green candle either close on top of, a little bit above, or you want it to close down here and wick through here. And then afterwards, you're waiting on either a, a large engulfing candle, like if this candle like this was just completely touching, right? I'd say, okay, you can maybe enter right here, but the best entries you're gonna get are off of the best entries that you'll get are off of candles that aren't touching this line, so that aren't wicking it, that aren't closing on it, candles that aren't touching. I'll show y'all later. But right here, I wouldn't have gotten to this because I let these candles close because you got to be patient because these candles can start to look like they're going one way, right? And then next thing you know, they're closing this way, right? So this one, actually, you see, sometimes these markets are carried a little bit by momentum. So you see right here, it still followed my rule, but it just had this one candle had a lot of momentum and it went through. It broke, right? Um, let's see. Here we get setups. No, boom. Here we go. Here we go. This is a good setup. I like the setup. Now I'm assuming this right here. This was from Friday. This is from Friday. You see, price it was able to break through. It came back and it retested or it gave a last kiss on this candle. You're waiting for a sell candle that isn't touching your level. Boom, right here, right here. You see, it wicked very closely, but it did not touch. I'll still accept this. But if you want it to be a little bit more cautious, if you want it to be a little bit more cautious, you could have waited until this candle and got a little bit later entry. It would have been a safer entry, cause and which is fine anyways. Cause look how large of a space you're trading between, right? So you would have hopped in right here. Your TP is down here. This is your TP because it's your next level. And what I do for my stop losses is I place them in the very middle of the zone created by these last two levels, right? And I'll say this: the reason that I told y'all earlier, I'll let y'all know when to get out this early because this is an emergency stop loss. It's an emergency stop loss. Why is it called an emergency stop loss? Because there's ways to tell when to get out of the trade a little bit earlier before the stop loss is hit. I'm gonna break that down to y'all in a second. But anyways, y'all would have hopped in right here. You would have wrote it down, and you see, well, even though the market closed for a little bit, which is why there's this gap right here. Who cares? I'm still holding. I'm still trusting it. And look, price started all the way down here. So that means it was on its way to drop anyways. So that would have been on one trade. Okay. Here's an example, right? You have price going. You have price up here. First of all, I wait. Um, um, what I'm saying. Oh yeah, I wait for my indicators to happen. I don't chase the trade. I let the setup come to me. You have to let the setup come to you. If you try to chase the setup and say, "Oh, I should make an exception. Maybe I make an exception here. Maybe I make an exception here," you're gonna lose these. Like sure, you would have got bailed out on this one because you see this one, it had one little retest candle right here, but it never actually wicked it or never closed on it. So I wouldn't have touched this. And you see, yeah, it came above, but it's fine. Guess what? You live to make money another day, or not even another day, another trade. And look, just like that, you have just another setup. It broke below, it came back and it touched it and it tested it. You wait for a candle to close that's not touching this level right here. Boom, perfect candle right here to enter on. You enter off of this candle. You take profit down here, stop loss or emergency stop loss up here. Okay, you write it out. You wait, boom, 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 boom. Trusted. Got close, pulled back. Don't pull out of the trade. Stay in the trade. Trusted. Boom. You made money. Let's see how many pips you would have caught right there. Okay, you enter off of this candle. $21 pips. 21 pips. It's like that, bro. This method, it's more of a scalping method. You're gonna build up your pips, just like how you build up your account slowly. You're gonna build up your pips slowly, right? Let's see. Here's an example of price following the rule, but it was carried by momentum to the next level. So you see price broke through. You got your retest or your last kiss. However, this candle right here, sometimes the only exception I will say you can make is if you got one super huge candle and you have a fairly small zone that you're trading in. Look how small this zone is compared to like the last one. If it's towards the end of the 15-minute duration for the candle, if it's on like the last quarter or the last fourth of the 15 minutes and the candle is still all the way down here, you can maybe, because I'm saying this because I feel like it's an acceptable risk, because I feel like it's an acceptable risk because you have a small zone towards the end of 15 minutes. The candles are basically down there. You already had your last kiss right here, so it already tested it, so it doesn't need to go back and test this level. So it would have been a risk that you could have took, right? But even if you didn't, if you decide to play it safe, guess what? You live for another setup. And look, perfect example. It broke, price wicked. It barely, I think the wick may have closed just above it or right on top of it. Remember, these lines are only estimates. And look, if it's this close, just count it. Because that's literally a matter of just moving this up one tiny bit or moving it down one tiny bit. You feel me? And then you're waiting on the price to close above. Boom, perfect entry right here. Your writings are right here. Your stop loss is in the middle of this zone down here. Let's see how many pips you would have caught. 19 pips. 19 pips, just like that. Alright, so that's 21 pips. You just came back and got 19 pips. Your pips are stacking up. You like them. Okay, let's see. Right here, this is the trade that I just hopped in with y'all, or the trade that I called earlier. Because another thing I will say, let me see. Alright. Here's what happened earlier on the first trade that I called this morning that actually ended up being a loss that I told y'all to hop out of. What y'all find out is when y'all start learning how to mark up or learning how to get a real good eye for marking up support and resistance, sometimes you're going to miss a few levels. Like you'll see price, you're going to have to just trial and error a little bit. So like I hopped into this trade, I saw price going down here. I'm like, okay, cool. It gave him a last kiss. Cool. It's going to go down here. But I didn't realize this level. And what happened, price went through this level, right? The price, and how did I know that there was a level right here that I missed? Because look, price had tons of momentum going right past it. It shot past it, right? But then look, it came back and it retested the same area, right? And if I zoom out, I'm gonna show you something. So keep this little area right here in mind. Look, and I have it marked up. This is the zone that I missed from that earlier trade. I have it marked up just for note, right? And if you go, oops, do that. Now, if you scroll back, look at that. Look at that right there. Look at that. This right here is also showing you that you have a level right here in this area. However, all I seen when I looked at this earlier and I analyzed it, I seen that it was just all momentum. There was no resistance to it, right? But look at this, and this should have been a sign, a summer sign that this is a fairly strong 15-minute level, right? Because look how much momentum Price had. Price had stupid momentum, yet the only thing that caused it to draw back at all was this level right in this area. And unfortunately, I missed that, right? So what happened is later I told y'all, okay, hop in. We're finna get a lot of pips down to this zone. Look, Price blasted past his zone. Look, it was a decent low because Price had to come back and retest it. It retested this level and it broke right back through. Right, so I'll take that loss, but then I got us right back in another good setup, bro. I got us right back in another good setup. You have Price right here. Price broke above. Boom! It retested the level. Okay, cool. I'm waiting on a candle to close like above this fairly nice high that it made. I'm waiting on the candle to close above. That's not touching my line. Perfect. I would have entered like right here. Right, I would have entered right here. I like using market execution. Another method that you can use if you want to is you can also set buy stops, set buy or sell stops at the wicks of these entry candles, such as this is what I call an entry candle because this candle indicates for you to enter. What you can do to help protect yourself a little bit, and actually I'm going to start incorporating this a lot more when I call like signals based off of this. You put buy and sell stops at the very tips of these wicks. So that once the market passes by this, that helps you into the trade. And actually, this would have been a good example where I should have used that. But like I said, I'm still adding more and more sauce to this by the day, so just stay tuned. But yeah, anyways, if you would have hopped for market execution, I put my stop loss. I like to use white lines to identify my stop losses where I put them. All right, and you would have wrote this out, and you see, look, here's an example of. Let me show y'all how I do my stop loss. Right, so the typical rule is for this method is you don't want price to close below this line. You don't want price to close below it because that means price was able to break through it, right? So typically based off of this method, you would have hopped out once this candle closed. However, it's a little bit riskier. I feel like it's worth it you gotta wait on the second candle and see if the second candle hits in the same direction, right? If the second candle starts getting all the way down here, if the second candle starts indicating, yeah, I'm about to go there too, that's when I hop out. And while you're gonna minimize your loss a little bit less, you're still minimizing your losses, right? And this method right here also helps on the risk to reward ratio a little bit. And you see how on the very next candle, there's no wicks on the bottom. There's no wicks. So that means this candle didn't even try to go and touch my stop loss. This candle, it almost wicked my stop loss, but it didn't. This candle didn't even want to go and touch my stop loss. It went straight up and it got right back into the zone. So we're still holding it, right? And we see that basically price has been, like I said, when price is in between these zones, it fluctuates a lot. You gotta let it fluctuate, right? Right? And we're just writing it up. I'm pretty sure my TP is set for right here. So we're just gonna wait and let price make its way slowly but surely up to this line, right? And also, let me just go over the alligator real quick, why I have the alligator in. I like to use the alligator, first of all, like to indicate the same action that I'm wanting. So like, let's say this action right here, I'm looking for a sell. My alligator, not only is it there, but it's spread open. Very nice too. So that would have been a good indicator to look for some selling. And also, but the most important thing I use alligator for is I use it to help me avoid consolidation. Let me see if I can find an example. Um, let's see. Okay, I can't really find any right here. Actually, you know what? I think what I'm gonna show you is real quick. I'm gonna just show you a few examples of this for US 30 because I use the same method for US 30 also. Right? Let me see. Except US 30 is a one where you have to really wait on the setups. You cannot, do not be impatient with this method on US 30 or it will come back and bite you in your new you know what. Because there's so many times where US 30 and other energies are carried fully by momentum, by a lot of momentum. Like, okay, let me see. Okay, here's an example of why I use the alligator to help, right? So you see, you had price, and you see you had a breakthrough right here. You had a breakthrough. I'm waiting on a kiss above or a retest or whatever, right? Boom, you got it right here, but it closed back above. Okay, so the process, like once this closes above, the process restarts. Boom, breakthrough. Okay, okay, boom, we had a kiss. Okay, whatever, doesn't work, and also yeah. So this it wasn't the best setup, right? It wasn't the best setups, right? However, the thing is, you wouldn't have entered any, even if let's say you had a good setup right here. Let's say you had a break above and it tested it right here, and you had a candle that closed below it, right? I'm not hopping into the trade. Why am I not touching the trade? Look at my alligator. It's so tight. It's congested. That means that this is consolidation. So I'm not hopping into any trades based off of this because let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, even if you have this perfect setup, if this zone, if it's consolidating right here, it's probably not going to touch this next level. It's not going to touch this next level, right? Um, let's see. Let me see if I can find. Let me see. Oh, and also, there's an example just like this, right? Also, another way I use the alligator. Look, you had a good setup on US 30, right? Look, it bought, it came back and it tested this. You have this candle right here. This is a good entry, right? Nope. Because look at your alligator. Your alligator is about to cross into a temporary sell. Even if this is just a temporary pullback sell, I'm not touching that. This is another place where the alligator would have saved you. Let me see if I can find a decent thing for US 30. Okay, here's just a little simple one. I'm going to just show this real quick. I can show more later. But you had a breakthrough. Boom, you had a perfect little retest. And look, this candle, it just barely didn't touch your line. So this would have been your entry candle. And like I said, you can either hop in for market executions down here, or you could have set a buy stop, a sell stop at the very tip of this wick. And look, that would have been an easy win off of US 30 right there. But you see how I had to kind of look for it to get some good examples for some good setups, right? Like I said, you got to be patient with this. That's basically it for now. I'll probably explain a lot more in depth on Friday. Or I'll also explain it at the launch pad if I see any of you there. All right.